If you received this IRS CP2000 notice, you may wonder, why am I getting this and what should I do about it? Well, the IRS's CP2000 program, called the Automated Underreporter Program, matches the information returns, that is the W-2s and 1099s filed under your identification number, with the tax return that you filed. Now, if there's a discrepancy between the two, the IRS can issue a notice. That's the CP2000 notice that can propose additional taxes, penalties, and interest to what you already have paid with your original tax return. Now, if you agree with this notice, it's simple. You go ahead and you use the response form that's provided and you send it in to the IRS. There's three ways you can send it in to the IRS. You can send it in by mail, you can fax it to them. The fax number's on the notice on the upper right-hand corner of the notice. And also the IRS will likely give you an access code that you can go ahead and reply online using their document upload tool. Now, if you disagree with the notice, and I'm talking about if you disagree with the taxes or the penalties it says, because many CP2000s come with an additional penalty called an accuracy penalty, which adds 20% to the balance owed. Now, if you disagree with any of the IRS's taxes proposed or the penalties, you need to respond appropriately to the IRS. And it's really important that you follow this format. In the format, and again, you can respond by mail, fax, or the access code. I recommend the access code when you go ahead and you do it online. The first thing you're going to attach is the response form, where you're going to indicate if you agree or disagree. The second thing you're going to attach is a letter, and this letter is really important. In this letter, you're going to explain the changes from what they propose and what you propose. Now, what you're going to propose, you're going to do a corrected return if, in fact, you disagree with the taxes owed. You'll do a corrected return. You can do an amended return also, but basically you're going to show the correct amount of tax owed and what should be reported, including things like other deductions that are associated. Now, you're not going to file this amended return. Remember, it's the response form with this letter. Now, in this letter, you can also contest penalties, and if you made a reasonable attempt to go ahead and file an accurate return, you would show the IRS and provide supporting evidence how you made a reasonable attempt to report the items out there. Or if you did not receive the information statement, that would be one of the areas for reasonable cause why you would ask the IRS not to assert that penalty. Now, when it comes to other changes, like your tax changes, the IRS may disagree with you on what you're saying is the correct amount of tax. Now, to protect yourself here, I want in your letter for you to go ahead and request an appeal with the IRS Office of Appeals if the IRS does disagree. Now, remember, response form, letter, corrected return. Remember, inside the letter, contest penalties, and then also make sure that you go ahead and request an appeal if the IRS disagrees. You're going to send this all response form to the IRS. Now, it's important that you file on time. You get 30 days with the CP2000. You can request additional time, but you have to contact the IRS directly. The number, again, on the upper right-hand corner of the notice. It's very common for the IRS to go ahead and give you an additional time to respond. But if you don't respond in time, the IRS may issue a series of additional notices proceeding to go ahead and assess the tax. If they do this and you need to go ahead and respond, you believe the assessment's incorrect, you would do what's called a CP2000 Reconsideration and send it back to that automated underreported unit that's on your notice. Again, CP2000s are not audits, but they look a lot like audits because they propose an additional tax owed. They're the most common way the IRS challenges a return. Make sure you use these best practices when responded to the IRS.